Show. Welcome to the Juice Radio Talk Show. Welcome to the Juice Radio Talk Show. Welcome to the Juice Radio Talk Show. Reality TV, church reviews. Let's talk happy love and marriage lifestyle. Come and talk with us. Come and share with us. Come and laugh with us. Come on and pray with us.
Regina and Clovis, special guests. You should be following your lead. Bless. Subscribe on YouTube. Listen on podcasts. We live on IG and Facebook. This episode is sponsored by Truth and Triumph Ministries.
All right, you guys. Squatters. Look who's on the screen, you guys. Squatters. This story, again, if you haven't seen my previous videos on squatters, go ahead and take a look at it. We're not here to make fun, mock, or any of that bad stuff. We understand people are homeless and need a place to stay, so don't mistake my channel. It is not a bad channel. We are out here to bring some knowledge and try and bring some encouragement and try and help some people to find the help that they need so they no longer become homeless. And in that same process, we're actually out here also trying to help landlords to be aware and get some more safety and security for their properties as well to try and prevent squatters from entering their home. Now, there's another form of squatting that I want to talk to you guys about. In my previous videos, I spoke about landlords by basing it based on stories and news articles of actual events that have took place. And I let you guys know what my thoughts are on those as far as what can be prevented for the future for other people. This particular one that I'm going to talk to you about has to deal with family matters. Now, we spoke about landlords. We spoke about people breaking into other people's property they didn't know. We spoke about vacant land. We're going to cover some more topics. But this particular topic we're talking about today is going to be one that most people would be like, but they're a family member. Can they be a squatter? Yes, they can be, considered a squatter, even if they are a blood relative. Let's talk about that. All right. With this story, y'all see him on the screen here. Y'all see him on the screen? Prince Andrew. Now, I love that this article, listen, this news article, this is so funny and so cute at the same time. This is by Lainey Gossip. Lainey Gossip wrote this. And she titled it, Prince Andrew, the Royal Squatter. The Royal Squatter. Prince Andrew, you squatting and they want you out, Prince Andrew. All right, I'm going to read this article to you, and then we're going to have a conversation about family members squatting in residences that their family member want them to leave. Yes, this happens. Now, it happens more often than you would know, and it does not only happen in the royal family. I'm glad this story came out because we look at it from a higher perspective. You would think Prince Andrew has money to be able to find his own place. So we don't think it's a money thing, allegedly. However, why won't he leave the residence? And also, why does the family member want him to leave? You may ask yourself that same scenario if anything were to ever happen like this to you, and I would pray it would never happen to you or to me. But in some circumstances, unfortunately, it does exist where family members are now challenged with the problem of having a family member leave a residence that does not belong to the individual that's occupying it. Okay. Jalen Rose had a similar situation, which I did a wonderful video on that. You can go to my YouTube channel and find that. Jalen Rose had this situation with his sister residing in a property that he had purchased for his mother. And when it came time, unfortunately, and sad to say, his mother passed away. And so Jalen Rose decided, whatever his reasons were, that he needed to take back possession of the property that he purchased. But the sister thought that because she was a relative and that she had taken care of the mother while residing in the property, she felt as though she had a right to remain in the property. Unfortunately, It doesn't work that way. It depends on who owns the property. Title and deed. Title and deed. Who owned the property? Sad to say, Jalen Rose, that story came out and she had to leave the property because it's his property unless they work something out. So I want to talk to you all about family matters and squatting. Let's read this article and then we're going to get to that. Thank you so much, Aaron, for being here. Thank you so much for putting all the information in the chat. Appreciate you so much. Remember to click like. If you did not ring the doorbell when you came into this video, please go out, ring the doorbell. That's clicking that like button and come on back into the room. All right. Thank y'all so very much for being here. Let's go ahead and I'm going to share this information. And Erin has so graciously, she's so good. I love it. She dropped the link for this article in there. She's on top of things, y'all. Made it real easy for y'all. Listen, and Erin also says this. She says, now I read into this. Prince Andrew does have a lease. He has the right to be there, but he is breaking the lease because he is supposed to keep up the property, but he is not. So this is confusing. Yes, that's the other thing. But you know what, Erin? In leases, they usually have clauses that if people don't maintain the property, it could be considered that they have violated their lease. And if that is the case, then that would give that landlord the authority to have them to remove from the property, because anytime you violate anything in your lease, that means your lease is canceled. Your agreement is canceled. It's over. And now the landlord has a right to have you removed or ask that you be removed from the property. And then the landlord has a right to take back possession of their property. So thank you for bringing that information. If he had a lease and if he violated it, Prince, you got to leave. You're going to have to leave. Well, let me go ahead and read this story. Okay. So the story says this. It says, a week after a Pompey Prince Andrew showed up at King Charles' coronation in a velvet royal robe, trying to use the moment of flash to remind people that he's still a noble, we're hearing that he's refusing to leave Royal Lodge, his home in Windsor. Charles has reportedly previously told Andrew that he will no longer receive the 250,000, oh my goodness, I don't know, is that euros or how do you say that the late queen was giving him every year to pay for the maintenance of the residence, which basically means he is going to have to get out and move to Frogmore Cottage. Okay, so Andrew does not want to leave this place. Charles is saying you have to leave, but Andrew's like he doesn't want to leave because he doesn't want to keep the upkeep, allegedly. But look, at least Charles said you got to move to Frogmore Cottage. It says, which is Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's former home. So it's probably a nice place too. Andrew, what is really going on? What do y'all think is really going on? Y'all tell me in the comments what y'all really think is going on. He has a place to go to. Now, he's a different type of squatter because some squatters are told leave, and the person who's telling them to leave doesn't care where they go as long as they get out of the residence or the building or the property that they're telling them to leave from. But in this particular case, they're saying leave and go to this place, which I'm sure it's probably a nice place. Harry and Meghan were there. Now, let's bring it to us. We're not all royals. If you have a family member and you have a property that you have allowed that family member to be there, and now it comes time where that family member has to leave and they're not leaving, they're considered a squatter because they don't own the property. Remember, the owner who owns it, deed and title, that's the person who actually can reside there. They're the one who can determine who can reside there. And if that owner of that property says that that family member has to leave, then they're going to have to leave. Now, let me just say this real quick. On the flip side, there are some laws that will protect the person that is in that property for a certain amount of time, to say you can't just tell somebody who's been residing in a property that you gave permission to reside in that property. You can't just tell them on one day you wake up and say, get out the same day. No, there are laws that will protect them as far as the process of how long they have to get out. Okay. Check your local laws in your area. Speak with someone in your area, maybe a legal advisor or a lawyer or something to get more information on that. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a legal advisor. I am a business manager who works with investors, and I gain a lot of my information through the process and also from having conversations with some of my legal team that we work with. Okay. But you want to check with your legal team, get real legal advice and counsel on that. Don't just say the Juice Radio and Talk Show said this. Check with your local courts and your local lawyers in your area. And there's also some organizations that will help you with this process that can give you some guidance to get in contact with some legal advisors in your area. Okay. All right. So let's continue to read this. Listen, he had a place to go. It says Marco's former home. Supposedly, they wanted Andrew to vacate the premises by September so that Prince William and Kate could move in with their families. So Prince William and Kate want to move in. So this must be a nice place. They're like, okay, go ahead and move out because we need to move our family in here. You got the better place. Because Prince William and Kate, I'm sure they had a nice place too. But this place that Andrew has, if they want to move into it, it must be something beautiful. All right. It says, but now, according to the Mail on Sunday, Andrew is refusing to budge. A friend of Andrew tells the Mail that he is so fragile, he's refusing to see anybody. This has been his family home for the past 20 years. All right. So let's get off of the squatting part right now and let me get into this real quick. I feel bad for Andrew when I read that sentence because you guys, he's older in age. He's been there for 20 years. Can he really handle all the upkeep? It's probably a huge place. I know that, his nephew is like, you got to get out. You got to leave. And I'm giving you a place to go. But all his stuff is there. He's been there collecting stuff for 20 years, laying in the same bedroom for all these years. That part kind of like hurts. Because it's like, you don't know how long a person will live. And those people, they live as long as the queen. They might be around for a long time. But I would feel like, why couldn't the other ones go find someplace else? Why y'all can't go find someplace else? Oh my goodness. It's sad. But it happens, you guys. It happens. All right. It says, Prince William and Kate want to move their family in there. And it must be big because they got a few kids, Prince William and Kate. It says, but now, according to the Mail on Sunday, Andrew is refusing to budge. He's frail. He's been there for 20 years. Is it really sensible to kick him out, the article says? It says he's concerned that now the coronation is over, the knives are out. He's worried that the royals might even turn off utilities to get him out of there. But we're dealing with human beings, not real estate, the article is saying. Now, here's the other thing. I don't know the laws over in England, but there are laws in the United States regarding turning off utilities, you guys, to a property that you own, even if a squatter is in the property. Be very careful before you turn off utilities. And you may say, it's in my name, I could turn them off. Check with your local legal advisors in your area before you proceed with turning off utilities to a property, yes, that you own, yes, that squatters are in, yes, it could be a family member. However, you may say, well, my family member would not do that to me, but there's so much that goes on in these court systems right now. But in certain states here in the United States, it is unlawful to turn off utilities, even if a squatter is in there. I know that. I hate that part. I hate that part. Let me finish reading this so I can get on to the next story. All right. So it says, sounds like sympathy play, right? This isn't a leak against Andrew. It's a leak in favor of Andrew. He's making an appeal as if to say, don't you feel bad for me that my brother is evicting me and that I'm being forced out of the home where I've been living for 20 years? Have mercy. Sure, but let's not forget why Andrew is so skint. The reason he's not a working royal, that part, is because of his association with Jeffrey Epstein. Ow! This story gets better and better. All right, so he's not a working royal. So if he's not a working royal and he's not working, he does not have income. If he does not have income, he can't keep up with upkeep. So if you can't keep up with upkeep, then you have to vacate. And yes, they're saying their brother, the person is trying to evict them. It's sad, but it's kind of funny at the same time because Andrew has a place to go. It's not like he's actually literally going to be on the street. But anyway, they're saying that there is a problem that happened, and you guys can Google that story where Andrew got in trouble with the royals because of his association with Jeffrey Epstein. Let me get back to the story. There was some information and some stuff that happened. They didn't like his character and stuff that had taken place. So it was a mess. The story goes on to say that's why he can't afford to live there. And that's why he's being asked to downsize. You're not homeless, Andrew. You're just going to downsize. And it may be better for Andrew to go to something smaller because he can maintain it better. It's like, my husband and I, we moved from a 2-story home to a ranch because it's better for us. We don't have to go up and down those stairs. We don't have to do all that upkeep, a regular ranch. It's easy to maintain. And, so that's what we did. But let me continue to read this so I can get on to the next one. It says, to a place that is still on royal land. He's been asked to downsize to a place that is still on royal lands. By the way, it's not like they're throwing him out and making him move into a basement apartment underneath a butcher shop. This article is so funny. It says, but of course, the Mail fails to mention that because it seems like they're now Andrew's unofficial mouthpiece, because the people are like, they're probably fighting for Andrew. Don't kick him out. What's the matter with you? Anyway, it says publicly exploring the king for his summit to negotiate his living arrangement. That too is humiliating. A 63-year-old prince having to beg his brother, the king, through the tabloids for an audience and mildly threatening to squat at a royal lodge where he is now living beyond his means. Can we tell him that then if Charles ultimately relents and allows Andrew to remain there without being able to afford it, can we call him the royal squatter? Can that be his new title? So this story is so funny. He's Andrew today, all smiles, while out on a drive in Windsor. All right, you guys. So that's what's going on with this. Now, let me bring it back to let you guys know. If you have a family member living in the property and you do not have a lease, you do not have an agreement, and you want to get them out, you cannot just flip the lights on and say, get out. There are laws that come with that. Okay, there are laws. Now, those laws are really going to be looked at. How long has a person been there? You can't have somebody just come with their bags one day and say, oh, I'm going to stay. And the person said, no, you can't stay here. And then they say, well, there's laws to protect me. No, they don't work that way. It's not like you just going to show up and say you're staying. But if you had an agreement where they were residing there and living there, and you might be in this situation where you were living there with your family member, you all agreed, but now maybe something happened and now they said they want you to get out and you don't have anywhere to go at the moment, or you feel like I can't just go out on the street right now, know that there are some laws that are there to protect you. However, anything that's done amicably is really the best way to do everything. So if you are able to leave, if a family member asks you to leave and you are able to leave, I would suggest go ahead and doing that, because you don't want to be living in a hostile situation, especially trying to lay your head at night on your pillow and have the thoughts of, is somebody going to come in here and do something to you? So you don't want that. You want to be peaceful when you rest at night. So if you're able to leave, go ahead and do that. All right. I'm going to be sharing some more information on squatting and landlords, tenants' rights, landlords' rights, and all that information. Click like, click subscribe on my channel, The Juice Radio and Talk Show. I've got another wonderful story coming up about a wonderful handyman who's trying to make some laws change regarding these squatters breaking into properties, where he had to actually get a squatter out of his mom's property. And he turned the tables on these particular squatters and he won. All right, I'm going to bring that story up next. If you have not seen the other videos, go back and take a look and check those out. So Aaron says this: Prince William and Kate place is 3-bedroom, and Prince Andrew is where he raised his family and where he lives with his ex-wife, and twice the size at least. I'm sure it is. And I'm sure, Aaron, he probably does not want to leave. That's where you raise your kids, where you were with, oh my God, that's a lot. That is a lot. All right, you guys, I'm going to be coming up with my next story here in a minute. Remember to go to my channel, The Juice Radio and Talk Show. Subscribe today and share this video. We'll be back with some more stories on this. Hit that notification bell so you'll be reminded when we go live. I'll see y'all for now, but we're going to be back. Bye.
Do you enjoy smooth jazz saxophone? T.D. McCullum has 2 singles available with more to come. The first is an original song called Groove With Me, featuring the classic sounds of Washington, D.C. go-go and his smooth jazz saxophone. The second is called Drunk on Love, a smooth jazz saxophone cover of Rihanna's Drunk on Love from her 2011 Talk That Talk album. Both are available on all major streaming platforms like Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, YouTube Music, and more. Add them to your favorite library and playlist today. And follow Tyrone on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Mr. T.D. McCullum for your music and bookings. JoJo Speaks is a YouTube channel that goes live every Thursday at 9:30 p.m. with hot topics and social commentary. Come join the Light of the Leo, Mr. T.D. McCullum, and our good friend Mike, Mr. Real 121, for fun and JoJo's unique spin on today's top stories. Go to YouTube, subscribe, like, share, and comment. If you are struggling to figure out who you are and where you're heading, but need a little light to bring you back on track, subscribe to the Light of the Leo for some healing and real conversation. Here is where you will find encouragement and the reminder that you are not alone. Continue your journey to freely be yourself at all times with the Light of the Leo. She goes live Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with her co-host, accountability partner, and little bro, JoJo Speaks. Join Faithful Warrior Ministries for our family and friends Saturday morning prayer. Every Saturday morning at 10-ish a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have a great time catching up, sharing testimonies, and having transparent, real conversations about life. We encourage each other and show how we can fit God into each equation of our lives. Enjoy a devotional reading and family prayer. You have a prayer family with Faithful Warrior Ministries. Subscribe on YouTube at Faithful Warrior Ministries, and on Facebook, like us at Faithful Warrior Men. That's M-I-N as in Ministries. Join Pastor Lorenzo Evans and Living in Grace Ministries. The messages are not social media driven. They teach what's true and not what's popular. Living in Grace Ministries goes live every Saturday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube to Living in Grace Ministries and click on the notification bell. Pastor Lorenzo also has It Takes a Village podcast on the first and third Saturday of each month, pushing to bring back the village concept. We are more powerful when we are united. Together we stand, and division is not an option. A heartfelt thank you to all of our subscribers who joined us for this video. If you have not already subscribed, go to our YouTube channel, The Juice Radio and Talk Show. Subscribe and click on the notification bell to be alerted whenever we go live. Join our private Juice community. Go to www.thejuicecommunity.com and sign up for free. Follow us on our podcast channel, The Juice Radio and Talk Show Podcast, streaming on all podcast platforms. A great big thank you to our podcast production company, Noye Podcast Productions. They can help you create your own podcast also. Contact them today at houseofnoye.com. Thank you to our sponsor, Custom Apparel Shop. Have them complete your embroidery work and silk screening needs. Do you need a logo created for your fashion apparel or company? Contact Israel Mason today. That is 786-657-7501. Thank you to our main sponsor, Truth and Triumph Ministries. Truth and Triumph Ministries, a ministry that cares about telling people the truth so they can triumph in life. Thank you, Truth and Triumph Ministries, for all you do.